Distinguished guests, please welcome the President of the United States.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to Washington. Fellow leaders, friends, for 944 days, Putin has waged his vicious onslaught against Ukraine. For 944 days, Ukraine people have stood unwavering, unbroken, and unbowed. Today, we're launching the joint declaration of support for Ukraine, recovery, and reconstruction to make it clear we stand with Ukraine, now and in the future. That starts on the battlefield. I'm determined to ensure that Ukraine has what it needs to prevail in its fight for its survival. Tomorrow, I will announce a series of actions to accelerate support for Ukraine's military. But we know Ukraine's future victory is about more than what happens on the battlefield. It's also about what Ukrainians do to make the most of a free and independent future, of which so many have sacrificed so much. With this declaration, over 30 countries and the European Union have made important commitments. First, as Ukraine continues to make necessary reforms to fight corruption, we're committed to providing Ukraine with the resources it needs to build back stronger than it was before. Folks, it's no secret. Russian attacks have caused significant damage to Ukraine. And less well known is the story of Ukraine's economic resilience. Ukraine's GDP is stable and actually growing. Ukraine's defense industry, forged in the fire, is 6 times larger than it was a year ago. And Ukraine is now exporting almost as much grain as it did before the war, feeding people and the world once again. Ukraine's economy is resilient, and together we can help Ukraine go from economic resilience to economic revival. Second, we commit to hold Russia accountable for the damage it has caused. This builds on a historic effort by the G7. Back in 2022, 2 days after Russia's invasion, members of the G7 and the EU worked together to freeze $280 billion in Russian central bank funds outside of Russia. This summer, at the G7, the United States and our partners reached a decision to unlock $50 billion from the proceeds of those frozen assets to put that money to work for Ukraine as it rebuilds and recovers its economy. Today, we reaffirm that with all our respective countries and legal systems, Russia's sovereign assets will be immobilized until Russia ends its aggression and pays for the damage it's caused. Finally, we're committed to coordinate closely through efforts like the Ukraine Donor Platform so we can make sure that each dollar goes as far as possible, reinforcing one another instead of duplicating work. Let me close with this. This war has shown the Ukrainians can do anything they set their minds to. Today, we show the Ukrainians you're not alone. You're not alone in this fight. You're not alone in the reconstruction that comes after. Ukrainian people have fought and died to win a future of freedom and independence. Mr. President, we all stand by your side to help Ukraine make the most of it. Thank you all very much.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the President of Ukraine.
Thank you so much, dear President Biden, dear leaders, dear our friends. I'm grateful to all of you for your unity in protecting lives. We previously gathered at the NATO summit in Vilnius to strengthen our defense cooperation. We do value the G7 Security Declaration and the 26 bilateral security agreements, which fortify us all. And now more than 30 countries and the EU have agreed to the declaration, truly strong declaration focused on rebuilding Ukraine after the hostilities. This is a shared commitment to help rebuild Ukraine and support our path to the EU. It involves coordinating recovery efforts through the Ukrainian donor platform, ensuring that our joint ideas become a reality. And it's crucial that this support becomes tangible this year. That's why additional financing resources are planned by the end of the year, with access to 50 billion in immobilized assets from the aggressor state, Russia, which brought this war upon us. This reflects our shared vision of life. We protect people, and we ensure that people have the opportunities to live. And it is absolutely justified that those who help us withstand now will be the first to benefit together with Ukraine from the large-scale reconstruction. Security and prosperity are tightly intertwined, and one cannot exist without the other. Sadly, throughout history, wars have too often shattered the destinies of generations, lasting a few years, but poisoning lives for decades. Together we can prevent this now. We must not leave behind ruins that would spread resentment and bitterness after this war. This task can only be achieved can only be achieved together. After the devastating Second World War, the Allies launched the Marshall Plan, which gave peace the strength to become truly lasting. And today we are laying the foundation for a similar architecture of recovery, one that will promote peace for Ukraine and all of Europe and the general welfare. I thank President Biden and all you, France and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, for their supporting in organizing today's meeting and for their unwavering leadership in protecting our lives. Thank you all, my friends, and I am confident life will prevail. Thank you. Slava Ukraini.